Hey guys, it's Kelly here again. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another book haul. This time I'm going to do only a book haul and two stationery supplies just because I am going to show you things that I acquired from the month of January, I believe. So it has been quite a few months and I have bought some art supplies, but I don't really remember most of them. So I'm just gonna show you the ones that I bought most recently because those I remember. So all of these books, because these are, well, 99% books, I bought or was gifted in the last 8 and something months, and I will just tell you a little bit about each one like always, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let's just get into it. The first book that I got is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor E. Frankl, and some of you might remember a few videos ago I bought Man's Search for Ultimate Meaning, and the reason why I bought this is because I saw it. I really wanted to get this one. I saw this one and I thought that they were the same book, so I bought this. This is in Bulgarian, and then I found out that this is actually like a second part or continuation, or is it like an expansion? I still to this day am not sure what this is, but I really wanted to read Man's Search for Meaning, and that's definitely where I want to start, so that is why I found this in English and I bought it. And I just think they're just very cute additions, and they're small. I like them, so I definitely don't mind that I have two, and I definitely don't mind that one is in English and one is in Bulgarian. That's just basically my entire library. One's in one language, the other's in another, so it is what it is. The next book that I have is called A Game of Salt, and it is by a Bulgarian author. I can't tell you too much about it because what I do know is very small, of a small portion of the book, but this is actually from a very close friend of mine's girlfriend. She wrote this book, he designed the cover, and I wanted to support them, so I bought this. I believe it's a fictional book. It explores themes about mental health and mental disabilities and how they make you special and how they make you, I guess, superhuman or some sort. That could be completely wrong, but that's what I got from this book, so I really hope that I'm describing it nicely or correctly, I guess. But I really wanted to support them, so that's why I bought the book, and she even signed it for me, which was really nice of her, so thank you so much. And I really can't wait to read this and see what I think. Next book that I have is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I'm pretty sure everyone and their mom knows about this book. It's very popular here on BookTube right now, and it was a couple of months ago. It's about Addie LaRue, who strikes up a deal with a demon who allows her to live forever, but the twist is that nobody she ever encounters will ever remember her, until one day, after she's lived for like a century or something, she encounters somebody that actually remembers her. So that sounds like a premise I would love to read. I love V. Schwab's writing, so I would really love to see what she comes up with in this book. I've heard some mixed reviews. I'm trying to keep my mind open in going into it because it is quite a big book, and I don't want to get intimidated by bad reviews. So that's all I'm gonna say. I really hope I read this soon, and yeah. Next up, I bought something that I've wanted to have for a long time, and this is the Life and Works of Van Gogh. And Van Gogh is one of my absolute favorite artists, and I really wanted a book that would describe a bit more about his life. Now, this was extremely cheap here where I found it, and that's mostly the reason why I bought it, because books like this, they tend to be very expensive, and I found this. It was like, I think 25 Bulgarian leva, 24, which is about $13, I think. I'll put it on screen somewhere. And I actually wanted one that was more about his life because I know a bit about his work, and I really wanted more about his life. Now, this one really concentrates more on his work not so much his life, but there are his pieces here. There's even inspiration that he took from different, for instance, the Japanese prince. He was obsessed with Japanese art and he tried to mimic it and recreate it. So that is, there are some inspirations for him here as well. There are sketches, there are artist friends or co-workers, I guess, that he was inspired by or that helped him in some way. And then we have a bit about his life, and after which there's mention of all of his art, or most of it. Now, I would not recommend this book 100% just because the only thing that it says other than his inspiration in his life is just a very short description of each painting. It says when it was painted, the size, and basically the medium, and that's pretty much all of it. Like, this information here, it doesn't tell you much. It's very repetitive. There's horizontal lines, and there's the use of oil paints, and that's just it. And I don't think it's a very good analyzation of his work or his techniques. There's not even a lot of mention of his techniques. So all in all, I would not completely recommend this if you want something that is about his life or about his work or his techniques or anything too in-depth. So this is just very good if you want kind of like an overall information, basic stuff that you want to know about him, and an overall review of all of his paintings. I am happy that I have it. I will be looking into something more in depth in the future, but as I said, for now and for the amount of money that I wanted to pay for a book about Van Gogh, this is pretty much as close as I can get to what I wanted. So I am happy about this. Next up, I have Truthwitch, which is I think it's a YA fantasy. It has been popular on BookTube for a while now. I know that the magic system is very interesting. That's kind of what caught my eye and why I wanted to give this a shot. I don't know anything else about it. Kind of want to keep it that way because I've had some unfortunate experiences with YA fantasy lately. I like the premise of what I know. I'm sorry that I can't tell you much about it, but you can probably find some reviews here on BookTube. I still haven't read it, but I do plan on it, and I would love to see what it's about. By the way, I want to just say sorry if you hear this weird noise from time to time. It's my neighbor opening their window. That's how it sounds. It sounds even more horrible to me. I am sorry. I have literally no control over it, and I can't even predict when they're gonna do it, so sorry. Next up, I have Recursion by Blake Crouch. Last year, I read Dark Matter, and I really enjoyed it, so I wanted to get Recursion as well. This is the Bulgarian version. I love the cover. I think it's so cool, and this is about a man who's, I think, a detective, and he wakes up in one day, and the world is kind of I'm sorry, I'm gonna try this again. So this is about a young man who is a detective or a police officer, and at some point people start having different memories of their life. They wake up and it's like they're in a completely different life. This is not how they remember it. They have fake memories or different memories, and people are just really freaking out, and the main character is trying to figure out what is going on and why everyone has, changed their reality, basically. So it sounds very interesting. I really liked Black Matter, as I mentioned, so I'm very curious to see what this is about, and I will let you know once I read it, which I think is gonna be soon. I'm kind of feeling it, and I'm kind of feeling like reading it these days, so yeah, fingers crossed. Next up, I have another Bulgarian edition, and this is The Three-Body Problem by LaRue is what it says here. I hope I pronounced that right. And this is book one in an high sci-fi book series. by a Chinese author. I heard Emily from Books with Emily mentioned this, and she really loved the first contact with aliens that there was in these books, so I really wanted to give it a shot. I also bought it in Bulgarian because I think I mentioned this before, but my grandma really loves sci-fi and fantasy, and sometimes when I find something that is really recommended or I really enjoy and I think she would enjoy it, I give them for her to read. So yeah, it's, as I said, it's a sci-fi about first contact with aliens, and that's basically all I know, and basically all I need to know because it just already sounds awesome. Next up is a book that I've already shown on my channel once, I think in my 5-star predictions video, and it is The House at the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. Now this, as you see, I've already started. This one I practically read in one sitting, and then my reading slump kind of hits, so I have been stuck for a while now, but it is very interesting. You've probably already heard about it, so I'm going to keep it brief. It's about this social worker who is sent on a special job in a home for kids with special abilities that are considered very dangerous, and the home is very closed off. So the social services don't really know what's going on in this group home, so he is sent there to figure out what's going on and if the kids are actually as dangerous as people assume they are. And that's all I know, and so far it's really interesting, and I love the writing style. I say that loosely because I am reading in Bulgarian, so technically I love the translation of the writing style, but there is a little bit of sense of humor. It kind of sounds like a British humor, but it's very light, and I just love how it sounds so far. I love the feelings that I'm getting from this book, so we'll see once I finish it what I think, but I think I'm really much enjoying it, and I do still believe that it's going to be a 5-star read for me. Next one I have is Brandon Sanderson's Skyward, and I hate this cover. I'm just gonna say it. It's the Bulgarian edition. Yeah, they did this thing when they came out with this book where they created a special edition book with this cover was wooden with little bolts, and it was really cool and really awesome, and that was a special edition. They had this stuck as a wooden piece, somebody designed it. I think that's really cool, but they did that cover as a print, and they did it on the paperback as well, which I just don't really like. And that's of course a personal opinion, but yeah, it looks like a plain you know, that's it. It's not my favorite book. If I had a chance, I would buy literally any other English edition than this one, but it is what it is. It's a it's YA sci-fi about a girl whose dad was a very famous pilot, and a spaceship pilot, and something happened and he was marked a betrayer. I forgot the word. A betrayer, let's just call him that. And he died in disgrace, and she decides to become a pilot and clear her dad's name. And and then basically aliens attack, and there's some battles with aliens. That's all I know. This was a very bad description of the book, but I hope you kind of got it what I was trying to say. But it sounds very interesting. You know, I love sci-fi. I am kind of hesitant by the fact that it's a YA sci-fi, but also it's Brandon Sanderson, so I don't know. I think I'm gonna enjoy this. Next up is another book that I practically bought for my grandma, and this is A Close and Common Orbit. Sorry, it's A Close and Common Orbit, and it's by Bacon Chambers. I bought the first book. This is the second book in the series. I bought the first book 2 years ago, I believe. I gave it to my grandma. She absolutely adored it, and I wanted to get the second one as well so I can read so I can give it to her to read. And I really think that I'm going to love these books. That's why I'm so confident in buying these before I've read the first one. But I'm pretty sure I'm gonna love it. So that's why I bought it. I believe it's just following the lives of a crew on a spaceship as things happen in space. That's all I know. I think it's very character driven. You get a lot of character perspectives. So if that sounds interesting to you, it's a cult favorite here on BookTube. So if you want to give it a shot, go ahead and do so. Next up, I bought a poetry book, and this is from a Bulgarian poet. Her name is Maria Doneva, and this book in particular is called She Enjoys the Rain, I believe, and it's just what I said, it's a poetry book, and I love poetry, but I find it very hard to find poetry that I love. So I found this at a book fair, and I just sat there because I was waiting for something, and I sat there and I kind of skimmed through them, and these poems are just so amazing. They're beautiful, they're quirky, they're lovely, there's beautiful rhymes in there, it's really beautifully written. It even has some funny ones. I wish I can share them with you. I will try maybe to see if it was translated in English, which I highly doubt. But if you ever see this person, here's her photo. As I said, Maria Doneva is her name. If you see her somewhere in your language, I would highly recommend giving her a shot, because I think she just writes beautiful poetry and just deserves a lot of exposure and deserves to be known, not just in my country, but in yours as well. Next up, I bought a few books that are kind of have the same vibe, and I'm gonna explain in a second. But this is The Cat and the City by Nick Bradley, and I mean, look at this cover. If this isn't a me cover, I don't know what is. There's a cat, there's a starry sky, there's a skyline of a city. I think it's just beautiful. But I also found this at a book fair, and the person who translated it recommended it, and he said it's a very interesting premise and very unique book, and the way he described it kind of reminded me of Cloud Atlas. If you've seen, I've read the movie. No, I've seen the movie. I haven't read the book, but I love that movie. It's one of my all-time favorite movies, and kind of the description of this book reminded me of it, and that's why I was hooked and decided to buy it. From what I gathered, it is either in Tokyo or is some of the characters are in Tokyo. I'm not sure. It's Japanese inspired, it's Tokyo inspired, and it follows a group of different people living their different lives, and at some point something happens and they just kind of connect, or you see a connection in between all of their different lives. So that sounded very interesting to me. I love books like that. I love when you have these seemingly different things or people or parts of the city or part of the world that just kind of have one thing that connects them that you don't expect. I love that premise. I absolutely adore movies and books about things like that, things that you don't really expect that kind of interconnect and kind of end up coming together in the end. So that's why this book sounded really interesting to me. I don't know much about it, and I kind of prefer to keep it that way. All I know is that we follow different stories, and in the end, it turns out that they're connected by something. So that's all I know. That's all I want to know. And if you want to check it out, as I said, it's called The Cat and the City. I'm going to The Cat and the City. Oh, I'm sorry. It's Nicholas Bradley. Not Nick Bradley, but Nicholas Bradley. So yeah, let me know if you've read this. Let me know what you think. And if it sounds interesting, also let me know what you think. Next up, I have Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro, and this is a very famous author. He is a Japanese, I believe, and this is one of his most popular and famous books. I recently heard about Clara and the Sun, which sounded very interesting to me because it was about I believe she was an AI or a robot, and basically her observation on humanity and people, as she is taken into a home and she's supposed to become a child's best friend or something along those lines. And I really wanted to get that one. It was recently translated in Bulgaria, so I really wanted to get that one. But then I found this one, which is his most famous book, and on the back it says it actually got a couple of prizes. And when I read the description, it sounded so interesting and so good for me, and it sounded like something I would love, because basically we follow different people and it explores what the soul is, if there's, I guess, anything concerning reincarnation. At least that's what I got from the description. And there's just talk about reincarnating and the soul and what connects us. So it sounded really interesting, and I would love to know what it's about. And also, I mean, I really want to read Clark Addison. I think this would be a good way to start with his writing, because apparently he writes a very interesting and unique books, so I really want to try something from him. Next up is another one that's gonna sound kind of interesting and kind of the same as the previous two in premise, and it is Crossings by Alex. I cannot pronounce that name. I am so sorry. I'm just gonna see how they write it out. Alex Langrain, maybe? In Bulgarian, they pronounce it, they read it out as Landrisian. Landrisian? Maybe? I don't know. I'm really sorry. I'm gonna leave it here or on the screen where you can see it, so you figure out what it is. But first of all, let's just discuss the cover. It is probably the most amazing cover that I've seen in a long time. And the reason why this caught my eye, not just because of the cover, but it's on the bottom beneath the heading, the name of the book, which is Crossings. It says 150 years, 7 lives, 2 souls. Now, seeing the previous 2 books, I'm pretty sure that you can tell why I was why I wanted to get this book, and it sounded interesting. Basically, you follow 2 people all throughout, or 2 souls, I guess, all throughout their different lives. Probably. Maybe. I'm pretty sure. At least that's what I got from the description, and it sounds like such a me book, and I just have to have it, so there we go. It sounds really interesting. Let me know if you've read it, let me know what you think, and I will let you know what I think once I read it. Next up, I got a gift for my birthday by a family friend, and it is called... what is it called? Decorating in Style, I guess. It is The Secrets of Professional Interior Design. And I love interior design. I wanted to be an interior designer when I was younger. And I actually had a Sims 4 channel where I built houses and decorated them. I don't use it anymore, but if you want to check it out, I think it's linked in my About page. I think. So this is by Frida Ramstead, and I am not sure I'm not sure what language the original one was from. I'm gonna just leave it here, but it sounded really interesting, and there's a lot of descriptions and a lot of things. There's even pictures, there's explanation, there's a lot of explanations here, and it sounded very interesting, and it tells you a lot of useful things. For instance, how the different coloring of each accent wall reacts, and how you can perceive the room if you do certain things. There's explanations about all sorts of things, where to put your lamps, what kind of windows, what different lamps and windows do, what different doors do to a room and to the interior design, how to arrange a picture gallery, what centimeter from the height of the stairs is okay, basically where your eye line is. There's a lot of things, what different positions of the curtains do to your eye, how they make you feel, and it's just, following basic things that most people, they can kind of see and they can feel, but they can't explain why. And that's basically here is basically the explanation of why these things are as they are. And I found this very interesting. I am still in the process of finishing up the decoration of my apartment, so I still have a few things that are not ready, and this book I think will help me immensely in at least figuring out why it is that I don't like certain things and why it is that I do like certain things. So yeah, it's a very good addition to my library, and I thank my friend for gifting it to me. Next up, I got an old book, which is an old book from my mom, and this is Paul Levine, and the book is called The Blonde from Miami, I believe, and as I mentioned, it's old. Oh, I'm sorry, it's called Flesh and Bones. What? So the Bulgarian translation has absolutely nothing to do with the actual name of the book, which Paul Levine, Flesh and Bones. So yes, I mentioned to her that I really wanted to give actually no, I mentioned it yesterday. So yesterday she gives me this book and she says that she has doubles of it, and I told her that this is the perfect timing because I really wanted to try something more thrillery, and I really wanted to give mystery thrillers a shot because it's not really what I read, but I want to expand a little bit. I want to see what I like. So I was going to actually ask her to recommend something to me, and this just comes at the perfect time. My mom reads a lot of is it law connected thrillers or jurisdictional thrillers about courts and lawyers, because she is a lawyer and she loves that subject. So I don't think that's gonna be my thing, and this I believe is about a lawyer whose client is guilty, and it's basically about how is he going to defend a client who is completely guilty. There's that he knows is guilty, she doesn't hide that she's guilty, and yeah, it also has some sense of humor, which I always enjoy. So I'm really eager to give this a shot, even though it's a thriller. So I will let you know if and when I do. And the last book that I have to show you is called Against the Fall of Night by Arthur C. Clarke. I wanted to get some more classic sci-fi. I have a few from my grandma that she gave me, but this one is, she didn't give me a lot of Arthur C. Clarke things, and I've read A Space Odyssey, and I really enjoyed it. I loved his writing style as well. I found this tiny little book, Against the Fall of Night. I know absolutely nothing about it. That's basically what I want to keep it as. But as you can tell, it's a sci-fi. Apparently it's about a city. I don't know. So yeah, it's very short. I will give it a shot. I will give it a read, and I will let you know what I think. So that concludes the book portion of this video. Now I'm going to show you the two sketchbooks that I got, and actually one is a bullet journal, which I haven't even opened yet. It's still in its packaging, and I want to keep it that way because it's a very bright color and I don't want to mess it up. But this is what I'm going to use, I think, as my 2022 bullet journal, because even though I have some room left in my 2021 bullet journal, I kind of want to just transfer it to a new one with thicker pages, because that one has very crappy pages, and this one is supposed to be 140 GSM paper. So I felt that in the store they had a sample. It seemed good. It seemed like it would hold most of my art supplies, so I really want to start using a new one for the new year. So this is what I got, and I love the color. I would have preferred something darker so it doesn't get dirty, but they only had this and a bright yellow, so I just went with this. And the last thing that I have to show you is something that I am very, very, very excited about. This is the Sakura Sketchbook, and I don't have the little tag of what it was, but I'm gonna try and find it and link it from their website or something. The format is a little bit strange, but I don't have sketchbooks that are this format, and I just felt super guilty for showing you another sketchbook, because I have like 50 sketchbooks at this point and just one is finished. So I just feel guilty now that I showed you this. But it looks really cool. It's got a little tab for the pen and the paper, and the paper is supposedly good for inks as well. It's not very thick Let me just try and show you how thick the pages are. It's not too thick, but it's also not, it's not that bad. And it's very smooth, and it feels like it's going to be okay with Copic markers. It's still gonna bleed, obviously, but my current sketchbook really sinks, the Copic markers really sink into it, and it just dries them out very quickly. So I am kind of hoping that this one won't dry them as much as my current one. So that's why I bought it, and yeah, I can't wait to start drawing in it. So I guess that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section below if you've heard or read any of the books that I mentioned in this video, or if you've used the sketchbook or the bullet journal that I showed you in the end, and what you think. And please, no spoilers concerning the books. And yeah, that's it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe if you like what you see and would like to see more. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.